I very much like contemporary work. And I think the most important thing is, when you come into a house like this, is that if you bring any works of art into the garden, into the house, they should be by contemporary artists. If one's in London, one spends a lot of time going around art galleries, looking at shows, looking at this, looking at that. And that's, I think, a key to it. You've got to keep your eye and you've got to keep looking. But in the end, you're the person who's got to live with it. Therefore, you're the person, therefore you've got to like the work of the artist you're commissioning.
Falmouth-based artist John Dyer is making a series of paintings of great Cornish gardens. This is his first time at Anthony.
The garden is an extension of the house. It's a room in its own right. So it seems very natural to have the view back to the house. It gives my painting a focal point, and it also shows that connection between the house and the grounds. To make a direct approach to nature, or to a subject, whether it's a natural landscape or an urban landscape, but to be there and to actually, it's a basic human need, I feel, to mark make, to put an image down with no technology. It's just me and the elements, and making a mark, you know, just putting a mark down. And how many ways can you do that? Is it a blob, or is it a line? Is it slow? Is it fast? A fairly simple language of what you would use, but how you put that together is what interests me, in doing it immediately to record an event, a day, a place.
That art sort of runs through, because even to the present day, Robert Dorrien-Smith and his wife Lucy are great art lovers. It's a great interest of theirs. Artists are invited to the garden constantly. You can't go anywhere without tripping over an odd artist. You know, you're sort of mowing a lawn and there they are, sort of lying about on the lawn doing things. So it's fabulous. So you have this wonderful collection of artists coming along with their own interpretation of the garden and of the island, all doing the same thing, but all in their own different styles.
Finding artists in the undergrowth is a constant feature of the Abbey Gardens. Falmouth-based Jo Short loves painting on Tresco. She's here with her husband John Dyer and daughter Martha Lilly for a week's painting residency. John Dyer and Jo Short paint in gardens all over Cornwall and come regularly to work on the island.
I use oil, so it's I just love the colours, and I love mixing. I love mixing colour. And I use 3 colours. I use a lemon yellow and a bright pink and a dark blue mixed with white, and I get all the colours that exist from those 3 tubes of paint. And that's what I love the best, mixing and mixing and mixing until I get the colour I want. Well, I paint from the foreground to the background, basically, and my passion is about the flora and flowers and things all in the front. And so for me, the most important part of the painting is to gather that information first, so it layers itself up in the foreground, the biggest flowers at the front, gradually going to the back, then the view of whatever's behind. And then the most important part then is at the end, because I have to choose the colours to make a decision on how the final composition is going to be. So it could suddenly be from blues to start with, and you put an orange background in, it completely changes it. Or I could put a pink sky in, and that would change it, just depending on how the foreground's worked. It's completely upside down, really.
Painting on Tresco is a fantastic experience for me, because it's got all the elements that make me tick as an artist. It's obviously very coastal. It's got that brilliant light, it's got white beaches, and then it's got the most glorious set of sculptural and colourful plants. So that's what makes me tick, and that's what I love about it.
We paint together. We've painted together for years and years. We work very differently, so we're not treading on each other's toes ever. But our work hangs really well together. It's complementary in that way, the colours, the style, probably quite contemporary.
We've got the same desire to connect to the landscape, and we both like, you know, plants, and we, you know, like Cornwall, all of that. That's why we go out to paint. But Jo has come from a printmaking background, and this comes through in her work. Her work has a very drawn quality. It's you know, it's just so. It's almost a set of separations for cloth or for etching, and that's work that she does as well. For me, it's a pure passion for colour and paint and getting my hands dirty and squeezing it out. It's a very textural thing. But that, that comes together because we're choosing the same subject. I think you have to look at the paintings and draw your own conclusions in a way with it.
I love John Dyer's work, particularly of Tresco and Here in the Garden, because this garden lends itself to his style. The garden is very full, it's very colourful, it's full of shape, not so much texture. With John, it's shape, these large exploding sort of colour schemes that you see everywhere, and also the big succulents, the big palms, so they're all squished in together. And when you first come across John's pictures, they're wow, they're so colourful, they're very vivid. There's almost a sort of naive quality about them because of the way they are, but I would love to have one on my wall just because of that style that shows the garden to its maximum sort of colour.